She doesn't do the opposite.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
So, I could also get my guitar, but it's fine.
Okay. Let me see.
So,
Miriam's song is 2.
so
I couldn't remember the order once I got home and started putting them in the book, so it's okay.
so the Oziba Zimra we can sing a little bit faster.
Sorry.
1, 2, 3, 4. And the women dancing with the cymbals followed me to meshes in a song, singing songs of all who we exalted. Miriam and the women dancing in the long night. 1, 2, 3.
And Miriam was a weaver, the tapestry she wove was verse and mystery. We're not together. We're not together, so do you want to do that
No,
a little
that's fine.
slower? Or
I was gonna do. You're doing the first and third, right?
Yeah.
And you
Right.
can take your own tempo because it's hard to fit all the words.
Okay.
Whatever
Uh,
it
you
is.
do it a little slower. It's
Whatever
a
you-
tongue twister.
May I ask,
Yes.
you don't need me to play the melody in those parts,
No.
right? Because I can just play the chord
Yeah.
and leave you some space, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So let me start up again. So.
The cymbals follow Miriam and she sang a song, sang a song of all who be exalted. Miriam and the women dance and dance the whole night long.
And Miriam was a weaver of unique variety. The tapestry she wove was one which sang our history. With every strand and every thread she crafted her delight. A woman touched with spirit, she danced for the light.
And the women dancing with the cymbals followed Miriam and she sang a song, sang a song of all who be exalted. Miriam and the women dance and dance the whole night long. And Miriam stood upon the shores and gazed across the sea. The wonder of this miracle that she soon came to believe. Whoever thought the sea would part with outstretched hand, and we would pass to freedom and march to freedom, the promised land. The women dancing with the cymbals, while she sang a song, sing a song to all who be exalted. Miriam and the women dance and dance the whole night long.
And Miriam stood, and Whoops, let's start that again. And Miriam the prophet took her timbrel in her hand, and all the women followed her, just as she had planned. And Miriam raised her voice in song, she sang with praise and might. We've just lived through a miracle, we're going to dance tonight.
And the Miriam dancing with the cymbals, follow Miriam as she sings a song. Sing a song, the one who be exalted. Miriam and the women dance and bless the Lord.
There's a lot of words in
It is a
there.
lot. Okay.
That's why I slow down. That's hard for me to fit in.
Well, you do it at your own pace.
So Elise, maybe you'll stay next to me when we do
Okay.
together.
Okay.
Or even when you do alone, you should
Okay.
stand here,
There.
right? What would you like? It's up to you.
Well, I put my stuff here, so I don't know.
So I spread the songs like 2 songs together, I think, and then talking, then 2 songs together.
Okay.
Okay, whatever you want.
All right.
Talking.
It's exciting.
Let's do the next one.
Go ahead, yeah.
All right.
Before anybody construction.
Let's see where we are.
I don't know why it's showing this Mikamoka.
Oh,
Ready?
Are you singing in your full voice? Is that your
I'm trying to pay attention to the dynamics that are here.
okay? That's okay. Cool. Is it too loud for you?
No, it's fine.
Okay. Do you want to do it again?
No,
Okay.
it's okay. Let's do that last one.
All right. So now we get this one.
I think for the intro, we can just go. Toot. Oh, that's not mine. No.
This one is both of ours. This one. Okay, so here I
It's
have.
number.
Yeah, this is your Mikamoka, and this is her Mikamoka. Or
Yes.
whoever, I have 2 copies of this. One goes one.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
so
not
this
singing
is
that
this
one.
is hers.
Yeah,
You have to
so-
do this.
Okay, I'm not sure what order they're being done. But
Okay, let me just change the key here.
Hi, good morning.
Morning.
Okay, that should be similar. Let's see.
You could just do for your intro. Do, 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 do.
Okay, so you want this.
Great, thank you.
All right.
So pretty.
I'm not sure what order that was in. I'm not sure when you're doing the Sheldon Low. You're doing that after the
Oh,
Lipson?
I'm doing this.
This was the,
You're doing the Sheldon Low after Lipson, or?
So this the order is OZ, then medium.
Yeah,
wait, I think we're hearing two different things here.
no, you have the.
We have everything right? Yeah.
So then Sheldon Law,
That's,
and then Hannah Tiferet.
So Lipson is after Miriam's song.
Lipson. Good morning.
let me see all this one more time to make sure. We're starting with OZ, right?
OZ,
OZ, okay.
OZ, then medium, then Lipson,
That's Lipson, yes.
and then Sheldon and Tiferet.
Okay.
All right, that makes 4.
5.
5,
Does it?
yeah.
That's Laura Wojciechowski from Oka. And then Elise Niakom.
Yeah.
Is there yet another one? Or am I missing something?
No, OZ, and then 4 different Mihamokas. So
Well, OZ, then Miriam's
medium
song.
song, yeah, and then 3 Mihamokas. So from beginning. OZ.
OZ.
Morning, Lori.
Good
Yes.
morning. Then medium,
Yes.
then Lipson,
Yes, that's right.
then Sheldon,
That's Sheldon. Here we go.
and then Tiferet. Elise.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you got it. So can we go to Sheldon? Just
Yes.
make sure.
Absolutely.
Things are loosening up.
Let's see what we want to do.
Just give me something, right?
Yeah.
You can give me.
Actually, I need to.
You don't need to transpose.
No, I need to untranspose.
Antipose.
Okay, hold on.
That's it.
There we go.
So you're gonna do some intro, maybe?
Uh,
Just play melody.
yes, I got it. That's it.
Did you hear this one? You know?
It's
You like
nice.
it?
It really is nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Okay.
I can breathe.
So this is actually.
Thank you, Fred and Elise. Technology. I'll make sure to Zoom and people will come in. It's still 10 minutes. It's still 10 minutes, so people will come
I
later.
think I'm just gonna stand there. There's not really a lot of room over here, so it seems like
Yeah? Okay.
makes sense.
Hi, good morning.
Mazel tov.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh, yeah, mazel tov.
Oh, good, they all got from yesterday.
Oh, that's why you're
The
here?
little one had to stay a day early because they do some kind of test to see if they can go home in the car seat. They finally
Aw.
passed yesterday. Passed-
Is it driver's test?
Yeah, he passed it.
Wow.
So you're gonna be sleeping over there for a while?
What's
You're
that?
gonna be sleeping over there for a while?
Probably not. They're only 20 minutes from us, so
What?
they're only 20 minutes from us. So.
Oh,
So
But
the-
they asked me, I will.
Right?
Yes.
Fred, thank you.
I'll consider it when he goes back to work.
it's a lot, 2 babies. It's a lot, just one baby at a time, never mind.
Well, she said the little one is the reason why people say, oh, I'll have another one. The girl, she weighs more and all that, and she feeds really well. It takes like an hour. I said, well, you took 2 hours, so.
Oh, so one baby's bigger than the other?
Yeah. One was
Significantly?
born at 6.1, and the other one was born at 5.1.
Hmm.
Yeah. So they lose weight in the beginning too.
Yeah. Wow.
Good
size,
size,
though,
you know. Oh, good size.
Yeah. All that work.
But it was a little earlier. Never expecting.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, her
Yeah.
due date was
Yeah.
February 17th, it was last Tuesday, and the doctor was going to 36 weeks, 37 weeks, and the doctor was gonna induce her, February 7th, if she could come sooner,
Oh,
she
yeah.
was sooner. But only the sac around him was the one that was broken. They had to break hers, so he wanted to get out of there, he's getting crushed there. He showed me pictures and so she was ready to break her, fragile her, and he was head down, this first, and she was breech. And the pictures that she was showing from the ultrasound was her backside on his head. So, Poor little guy. Thank you.
Wow.
Go they moved back.
Wow.
Do you see the pictures?
I don't know. I just read it. Not really.
This is not the secret.
My husband has a Facebook account, so I just,
She's scared.
he doesn't use it at all.
So that's Ashlyn and that's Aaron.
They're adorable. So cute.
Yes, all
I
of
love
us.
their
Thank you very
voice.
much.
I'm not getting my phone off.
That's when they start talking back to you.
Never been.
So that was me with him, but watch this.
Yeah. So cute, so cute.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, we have a 7-month-old and he came a month early too because she was having.
So she was getting ready for this. She was preparing herself.
Oh, they already have a child?
No, that's Sarah, my daughter. When she was
Oh,
little,
oh,
just
oh.
2 babies.
I thought
She was getting ready.
That's really funny.
That's when she was little. So we're in the middle of downsizing, so I'm going through all these pictures. No, so this is my daughter. So I'm just saying that she's getting ready for this moment. Oh, yeah. He's in love already. Yeah. That's me. That's the girl. That's the top.
So you're moving?
Yeah, we're going to that.
Oh, yeah. People love it. I've known a few
Good, I'm
people that have
glad.
gone, they really love it. It's kind of liberating in a way.
Yeah, it is actually.
When you get done and you make all those difficult decisions.
Let's just say I found report cards for my kids when they were in kindergarten. One is 36. the other
Right,
is
right,
41.
right. That's what they want.
They don't want anything.
I still have my stuff too.
So where is this from?
How old are your kids?
One's deceased now, sadly.
Where is this place? It's.
And the other
Do you ever go
one
down
just
Jefferson Road off of Clover?
No.
So they were
In the
18
Y.
months
Yeah,
apart.
it's right there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're
I've
talking
been
about.
trying to offload all this stuff on my older son, my oldest.
What Facebook friends?
I saw it there.
I know, I mean, I saw it somewhere.
I made him go through it.
I read the post.
So in love. I don't
Oh,
want
I'm-
to
it's like an
Yeah, so he looks good. So. So I think.
Hi there.
Yeah, but then the girl mom.
What happened? I told her maybe she could be named. So how much do you pay us to be able to play for
People on Zoom, can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay. Do you see the slides?
yes.
Oh, great. Okay. I am supposed to talk here. I'm supposed to talk here. Yeah. Hello. Okay.
Oh, Miss Sarah.
Hi.
And it's so much work.
People start on time usually? Rabbi starts on time?
Rabbi always starts.
Rabbi Zohar? Okay.
It's
okay, I don't want to break the tradition. Well, good morning. Good morning, it's 9:30. Welcome to the musical class. Yeah, good morning. We will be starting with a song. With a song that everybody knows, Oziv Zimrat Ya, and later you will find out why we picked this song and where it comes from. So right now we just sing along while you're munching, but just be careful. Hum, if you don't swallow too fast, hum along. And I'm so honored that Fred Van Doren and Elise Wojciechowski are joining me this morning as we demonstrate some of the musical Michamochas and other songs from Shirat Hayam, from Song of the Sea.
I love how she says Wojciechowski.
Wojciechowski.
One more time. Let's hear that. Let's hear that again.
Yeah, Wojciechowski. And one more time. Thank you. So now we'll move on into the teaching. Maybe we should close the doors, right? If somebody stands there by the doors, thank you. And people online, can you see? People online?
Yes, but the slides are not changing.
The slide didn't change. How about now?
No.
Not. Well, I'm changing them here.
Yeah, they're not changing them.
Hold on. How about now? No?
I can just see you. And the screen.
I do share screen. Okay, let's try again. Hello, people online. Now we can see who you are.
Hello, people.
Right, so I'm going to open this again. Okay, try to. Okay, 1 second.
Oh,
How
yeah.
about now?
Yes. Yes.
You can just, but it's not changing. It's still the first slide.
That's okay, though.
Okay, how about now?
No.
The noise.
No, the slides.
Drive it to you.
Okay, so I hope it's changed. Do you see the text? What do we
No.
know?
No. It's still the first slide.
Mhm.
Well, I don't know what to do. It's sharing. I'm sharing the.
You've done everything that any of us who Zoom know how to do.
Yes, I share the screen and it should be sharing the screen. So nobody sees anything except the first slide.
That's the first slide. That's all I'm seeing. I don't know about anybody else.
Yeah, it's just the first slide.
Oh, Leslie, do you know what to do? We can try.
Sorry. Well, welcome to the class. So this is stop sharing.
Let's get a chair.
Absolutely. All my grandsons, you know how to do it.
So usually you don't have a problem? This is only when I come? Okay, great.
When she comes.
All right, let's stop sharing for a second.
So that's what I did, just 4 people waiting.
We'll let them in. Oopsie. Okay, so that is the
There's
first.
the PowerPoint.
Okay. And then that's the first slide, that's the second slide.
So you've been now on this slide.
Okay.
I have no idea what's next.
That's
You need to
that.
admit
Let's-
these people. Thank you.
Okay. Now, all right, let's go here again just for a second and see what you. Now, where's your PowerPoint again? And this is what you want to show is this, and then you actually want to show this.
Okay.
Okay, can you talk or do you need the slide?
So, last night we started the Torah. Anybody knows what Torah portion we started last night? Beshalach. Bo was Saturday morning, but last night we started the Torah portion
Yesterday, now it's.
Beshalach last night. And we'll read all week, like we read the Torah portion Beshalach. And this coming Friday is Shabbat Shirah. Shabbat Shirah is called because of the Song of the Sea. Song means Shirah, sea, Shirat Hayam, right? Song of the Sea. So what do we know, right? What's happening in parsha Beshalach? So the Israelites crossed the sea, right? They were fleeing from Egyptian army. They reached the Sea of Reed, right, or Red Sea. We'll talk about the mistranslation, right? They reached the sea, some kind of sea, right? The sea split, and the Israelites passed through, and Egyptians drowned, right? That's what we know. So
where's the Zoom? Now I can't even find the Zoom.
So that's the Zoom.
Okay, that's the Zoom. But it's weird that this is showing here.
I don't know.
Okay, so let's try again to share. Oh, should we admit them too?
Yes.
You see it now?
Yes.
I don't see it.
Okay.
Oh, we just lost. It's got a picture of a airport or a city. Just solutions. Yes.
Yes. You see it now?
Yes.
But I don't see it.
Okay, so let's go. Can you make them smaller?
View, maybe?
Stop sharing. Yeah. Speaker view, gallery view.
So where's the PowerPoint?
Okay, go to PowerPoint.
100%. iPhone 172.
Okay, so, all right, now what do you see?
Just solutions.
No idea why it's not working. I need like a second. Maybe I can. You see there?
Just solutions.
Just solution. Well, I'm not sure what to do. Why it's not.
Maybe not share with them. They can just listen.
That's what I'm thinking.
Should
Okay.
we go out? Now we've got the slide. What do we know from this Torah portion?
Okay, good.
Okay, so.
Okay, so thank you, Leslie.
For nothing.
Thank you.
So the Israelites were led by angel of God, right? And they reached the Sea of Reeds, right, or Red Sea. We'll talk about it. What sea was it exactly? And then Egyptians were pursuing them, and then the sea split, right? And Israelites saw the miracle, right? What was the miracle? What was the miracle? The splitting of the sea, right? The sea split, right? The sea split. Isn't the miracle? Yeah, I think it's a miracle. So this is how the Torah portion, right? The Torah portion looks in the Torah scroll. See, it looks different, right? The column on the right and the column on the left, that's just the regular Torah looks like. And in the middle, this is the sea, Song of the Sea, right? Shirat Hayam. Shirat means song. Hayam means sea, Song of the Sea. This is how it looks because it's a poem, right? It's a different structure and has a little bit different chant to it, right? So we'll talk about it in a few slides from here. And this is the text in English. So it's a beautiful poem. And if each person can take just one verse and we can go around, so we can read through the text and you know what it's about. You can have the feeling of the text of the Shirat Hayam, the Song of the Sea. So Fred, would you like to start one?
Sure. Then Moses and the Israelites sang this song
to Adonai.
They said,
number 2.
I will sing to Adonai, for he has triumphed gloriously. Horse and driver he has hurled into the sea.
Adonai, my strength and might, he is become my deliverance. This is my God, and I will enshrine him, the God of my father's house, and I will exalt him.
Adonai the warrior, Adonai is his name.
Pharaoh's chariots and his army he has cast into the sea, and the pick of his officers are drowned in the sea of reeds.
The deeps covered them. They went down to the depths like a stone.
Anybody?
Your right hand, Adonai, glorious in power. Your right hand, Adonai, shatters the foe.
In your great triumph, you break your opponents. You send forth your fury that consumes them like straw.
Next.
At the blast of your nostrils, the waters piled up. The flood stood strict like a wall. The deeps froze in the heart of the sea.
The foe said, I will pursue, I will overtake, I will divide the spoil. My desire shall have its fill of them. I will bear my sword, my hand shall subdue them.
You made your wind blow, the sea covered them. They sank like lead into the majestic waters.
And this is in yellow. Do you realize why is it in yellow? Anybody? Michamocha, that's that. So the song of Michamocha, the prayer Michamocha that we say daily, okay, 3 times a day actually it's said. It comes from this Shirat Hayam, Song of the Sea. And I'll show you how it looks in Hebrew. So can somebody read 11, please?
Who is like you, Adonai, among the celestials? Who is like you, majestic in holiness, awesome in splendor, working wonders?
Okay. Number 12.
You put out your right hand, the earth swallowed them.
In your love you led people you redeemed. In your strength you guide them to your holy abode.
The people's fear, they tremble. Agony grips the dwellers in Philistia.
Now are the plans of Edom dismayed. The tribes of Moab, trembling grips them. All the dwellers in Canaan rejoice.
Terror and dread descend upon them. Through the might of your arm, they are still as stone.
So the people cross over Adonai, so the people cross through your grandson.
You will bring them and plant them in your own mountain, the place you made to dwell in, Adonai the sanctuary, O my Lord, which your hands established.
Adonai will reign forever and ever.
It looks so small in Hebrew, right? But it's a lot of English. And this is the end. So just 3 more verses.
For the horses of Pharaoh with his chariots and riders went into the sea, and Adonai turned back on them the waters of the sea. But the Israelites marched on dry ground in the midst of the sea.
And then Miriam the prophet, Aaron's sister, picked up a hand drum, and all the women went out after her in the dance with hand drums.
And Miriam chanted for them, sing to Adonai, for he has triumphed gloriously. Horse and driver he has hurled into the sea.
Okay, so that's the whole poem. Can you just like imagine? Did you see the movie? You know when when the Israelites came through and this song broke out, and so the questions that we can discuss is why do you think this is so significant, right? The Shirat Hayam, that in the story of Exodus. And the second question, it's very interesting because there are many commentaries on that. As you read the poem, right, you notice it doesn't say we will praise you, like we will be grateful. It's all about I. You know, it says I. The poem says I. So so this is the interactive part. So you can answer any of those 2 questions. The first one, why do you think it's very significant in this point of the Exodus, this poem? Why is it so important to have this poem right here? And why it says, I will, not we will.
During the Passover Seder, during the Seder, is it on?
I think you pull down.
No.
I can, anyway. During the Seder, there's a point where we say, God redeemed me from the land of Egypt. We're supposed to say that that every person has to take that personally. And I'm wondering if this is the same thing. I will sing that it's personal for each of us to consider that this happened as if this happened to us.
Yes, that's one of the commentaries. Thank you, Elise. Yeah, the rabbis say that this is every person saying I, even a little baby was saying like I. So this is very personal. But why do you think it's important to have the Song of the Sea in this place right now?
Well, I think it's a break between being enslaved and being free people responsible for yourselves. And you as, it's not an oath, but by saying I, you're recognizing that God did this. And you understand that God did it. And so you made this trip, maybe 2 transitions, one transition and affirmation, right? A transition that says from slavery to freedom, and an affirmation that God was responsible.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a beginning of the covenant, right? Like a beginning of the covenant that Israelites saw this miracle. There are many commentaries and rabbis saying that they were so astonished that they were like speechless. They still had that slave mentality and they didn't know how to react. So, anybody else would like to comment? Paul?
I think the point of 2 is it's saying the congregation should be quiet, listen to the cantor, because the cantor singing.
Okay, let me write it down. I'm gonna write it down. Go ahead.
So what struck me as we all read a portion was kind of like vengeance. Like it almost seemed like the text was gloating around, wiping out the Egyptians. And that, I don't know, kind of surprised and bothered me.
And yet elsewhere, it does say, I think God says, you shouldn't rejoice, right?
Right, there is a midrash. Right.
So that's not going to go unanswered.
Right, that's exactly right. There is a midrash that says the angels come out and says like, why are you rejoicing? other human that I created drowning, and you're rejoicing over it. So it's very conflicting. There's glory, right? There's this majestic song to God. On the other hand, the other humans are dying. It's conflicting.
I also think it's part of a sequence of big events, like you have the revelation of God to Moses, the sort of beginning of this, and then the command to leave, and then this, and then you go on to the Mount Sinai with the golden calf, and then the Ten Commandments. So I'm not quite sure, I haven't thought it all through, but there's some sequence of events here. This is one right in the middle of what happens between God's revealing himself to Moses and the Ten Commandments, right? Two giant things. So it plays some sort of transitional role. I'm not sure exactly.
No, you're getting into something. So remember what happened before was 10 plagues, right?
Yeah.
God kind of showed the miracles, right? This is kind of another miracle, splitting of the sea. It's following the pattern. So, and then we know it will be a long journey to Sinai. Anybody else heard?
Yeah, there's another question. The other question is, why is this a song in the middle of everything? I mean, are there other places in the Torah where we suddenly break into song? You know, this is probably because, you know, the Torah was written 1,000 years later. This is oral history. And this could have been a song that was written for the thousands of years as oral history. And whoever wrote this and placed it in took this popular song or this song that they would sing at the time and stuck it in the Torah. Now, Paul would say that so that you would have a job.
Thank you. I'm glad you find humor in this too. So to answer your first part of the question is, there are different poems in the Torah, like 10 Commandments that looks different. There is Hazinu, when Moses, you know, gives his last speech, when we about to enter to Canaan. But the song, this is kind of the only song of the sea that's called the Song of the Sea. And this is like my favorite part of the service, of the Torah. It has special also chanting motifs. I'll chant for you just a little bit later. My thinking, because this is a triumph, you know, it's victory, and that's why it's placed right there to make a point. So it's just like my opinion. Go ahead.
Well, it seems to me that God really objected to the Egyptians hurting his people. And if they were falling right behind, it's just going to end up there like it was back in Egypt. So he said, that's it. I can't stand it anymore. My people will come in, you go on.
Right. Well, you know, it's a conflict.
Is the name Song of the Sea actually in the Torah? It's an interesting choice of a name. So I don't know whether it's been people made the name up after the Torah was written, or it's actually labeled Song of the Sea.
So it is labeled. Good question, David. It's a label, you know, Shira, you know, like even Shabbat, this coming Shabbat is called Shabbat Shira. Okay, it's named after the song. Okay, in the Torah, it doesn't start, this is the Song of the Sea. It just starts with the poem that I showed to you. It doesn't say, right?
It doesn't say.
Whatever you just read in English, this is how it starts. It doesn't say Song of the Sea.
So it's something that
it was named later. It's very interesting, yeah.
So when you said my people and God said my people, wouldn't even the Egyptians be God's people too? So that's what I don't understand is like, we're God's people, but like yet he's sad about the Egyptians dying. So it's really conflicting. Like, are we God's people even though everyone is God's people?
It's very interesting. So we are obviously God chosen people. This is, you know, in Aleinu, right? When we recite Aleinu every day, that's what it says in Aleinu. And we are labeled as God chosen people. What the commentary said that the other humans that I created are dying, okay? It doesn't say my people, it says the other humans that I created are dying too, and you're rejoicing. So I guess it's important to make the separation, chosen people, us and other humans that we have to care about. Okay, so another very interesting interpretation about how the Song of the Sea was sung is that when Israelites crossed the sea, they were in such shock that they didn't know how to react. So Moses was singing first line, and people were repeating after him, and that's one of the interpretations why it says I will sing, I will praise instead of we will, because they were repeating after Moses. So Moses would sing one line, and then Israelites would repeat after him, because they were in such shock they didn't know how to react. So this is just another take on it. So we'll talk about, this is the visual structure, right? And of course, there are a lot of commentaries on the visual structure. If you can find Michamocha, let me know where you see the prayer Michamocha. So
It's right in the middle.
Right? You see Michamocha? Okay. Michamocha, Ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot oseh fele. Then there is another text, and there's somewhere Adonai Yimloch is a little further, that it's not here, but Adonai Yimloch lelam ba'ed is all the way on the bottom. So some rabbis say that it looks like bricks, right? Symbolizing like the wall when the Israelites were passing through the wall of the sea, right? Some rabbis said that this is like Israelites passing through, and these are two walls. And as you see, some letters like a stretched, right? Because you need to fill in the column. So I'll chant a little bit. So just the beginning. Az yashir Moshe ובני ישראל את השירה הזאת לאדוני ויאמרו לאמור. And then it comes the festive motif. השירה לאדוני כי גאה סוס ורבחו רמה בים Ozi vezimrat ya. Remember the Ozi that Elise and I were singing, Ozi vezimrat ya? This is from here. Ozi vezimrat ya behili li shua zeliban vechu Elohei. And then it goes back to the regular trope. Elohei abi barmamenchu Adonai ish milchama, Adonai shemo, markevot paro bechelo yareh bayam, uyavchar shloshav tabe'u bayam suf. So it goes back and forth between the festive motif we call and the regular trope. And it's very interesting, the festive motif, right, that is used here sounds da 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 is the same motif that it used for wedding ceremonies. It's like a nusach, you know, we call in Jewish music, we call nusach, just a special motifs that's used for the Sheva Brachot, right, the 7 blessings that's sung under the chuppah, and it's kind of beginning of the covenant. That's what David said, like Israelites starting to form the covenant with God. In the same way, the couple who's standing underneath the chuppah forming their covenant with each other. So that's kind of the reason why the same melody is used, the same trope.
Are the melodies the same in the conservative or Orthodox traditions?
The chanting?
Yeah.
It's slightly different. Some similarities. Of course, the Sephardic have their own kind of melodies that sound very like Arabic, you know, yeah, very Moroccan. and they chant the Torah standing, you know, it's kind of in the case. So as you can see, this is how it's looking at Torah. There are no vowels, right? There is no Torah trope. Like in Hebrew, it's called tamei mikra. Tamei means accents. Mikra means kind of the Torah, right? The reading of the Torah, the accents, they're missing. There are nothing here, right? No vowels and no trop, the cantillation. So the way I chant, at first I go and I learn with the trop, and then I try to chant without vowels and without trop marks. But the trop marks and the chant is different in Orthodox. So, there are similarities. If you have a very good ear, you can hear, but sometimes you cannot even hear. So, and Orthodox have their own kind of, conservative has most the same, like Reform. Sephardic have their own.
There were little crowns on top of some of the letters. I think it was the crown. That's quite see from here.
Yes. This is kind of embellishment, like a schmaltz, a schmaltz. So each, the sofer, right? The sofer, the scribe who writes the Torah, it's all done by hand, right? And if you take each Torah, we have 5 Torahs here at the temple, and each one looks different because like your writing looks different, right? The sofer, the scribe, his or her writing looks different. And they add this like embellishments, the crown. It's not only in the Song of Sea, it's throughout the Torah. They add crowns on some letters. And it's interesting when you see the scribe writing the Torah, they sing out each letter in order not to make a mistake. Because it's very easy to make a mistake. So, so if the letter kind of has to do from bottom to top with a quill, then he sings the melody kind of up, like, and then when the letter has to go from top to bottom, he sings the melody down, like, maybe not each sofer does, but I saw some sofers do it. It's like when you write something, right, and you say it out loud, it's like less chance to make a mistake. So the same is with the writing.
And it's a personal embellishment, the crown, like a different sofer might have a different.
Some scrolls don't have or have slightly different embellishments. This Torah scroll, I think it's from our Torah scroll, or maybe from internet. I'm not sure where I took it from. So in a minute, we'll sing Miriam's song, written by Debbie Friedman. There are words here, and you can look at the words. But I was always curious, right? There are so many michamochas, right? Like, I don't know, hundreds of michamochas, the songs, because a lot of composers and songwriters were attracted to this, text. Who is like you, right? Adonai, the michamocha. Some composers compose like upbeat tunes, right? Like upbeat, but some compose lyrical. And I was always curious. Like, it's so obvious, like you want to be joyful, it's freedom, right? And you want to be happy. Like in Sinai, we can name few, right, that we sing. Yeah, la, 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 right? It's also by Debbie Friedman, right? Remember that one?
Yeah.
Then there is Mi Chamocha Bailim Adonai, right? That one, it's fast also by Karl Bach. Then there is another one by Karl Bach, Mi Chamocha Bailim Adonai, Mi Chamocha, right? Kind of also a beat. Then there is this one, Yada da 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 da, Yada. It's kind of like lyrical, right? Remember that one? Then the one we sang recently, Rabbi Zohar wrote, right? Do 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 do, right? So that's kind of also a beat. And I was always like curious, like why some composers, there is no right or wrong answer. Some composers write like happy tunes and some write like very lyrical tunes. So Song of the Sea. So we'll sing some michamochas, and Miriam's song is the interpretation of michamocha. And then while we're singing, this is very funny. Should I call Ryan? Or how do we turn it off?
No.
Oh, goodness. I'll text Ryan. And while we're singing, why don't you think, like you express your opinion maybe later, why some composers decided to write a happy Michamocha and some decided to write a lyrical, like a soft Michamocha. So hold on, it stopped. Okay, so I don't have to text Ryan. How many of you know the Miriam song? Oh, great. So please sing along. Fred, take it away.
Got it. Hey. Now I've got power again.
Power is not working? Yeah.
Now it's working. Good.
What else could go wrong?
Go ahead.
Don't ask.
Sorry.
And the women dancing with the cymbals, follow me, and then she sing a song, of one and exalted. Miriam and the women dance and dance all night
And Miriam was a weaver of unique variety. The tapestry she wove was one which sang our history. With every strand and every thread she crafted her delight. A woman touched with spirit, she dances with the light. And the women dancing in the cymbals, follow me, and then she sing a song of one who be exalted. Miriam and the women dancing all night long. And Miriam stood upon the shores and gazed across the sea. The wonder of this miracle she soon came to believe. Whoever thought the sea would part with outstretched hand, and we would pass to freedom and march to promised land. And the Miriam dancing with the cymbals, followed me, and then she sang a song, singing a song of joy and exalted. Miriam and the women dancing all night long. And Miriam the prophet took her timbrel in her hand, and all the women followed her, just as she had planned. And Miriam raised her voice in song, she sang with praise and might. We've just been through a miracle, we're going to dance tonight. And the women dancing to the cymbals, followed me, and then she sang a song, singing a song of one who exalted. Miriam and the women dancing all night long.
Oh, thank you, Elise.
Fred gave it a
Thank
joyful
you.
spin.
Yes, yes. So the next Michamocha is by Lipson. And this you be the judge of this one. Also beautiful one. Beautiful. Thank you, Elise. So, yeah, any thoughts like why some composers choose to write happy Michamochas, right? And we know many of them. And why some composers choose to write soft and lyrical. And just any ideas, Fran?
I think like this version is more more for a soloist, and the other versions are more for congregation.
Okay. Well, much.
I think there are also just different ways to pray, to express the relationship to God. And so for some people, it's joy and singing out. I think of African American congregations, and I always wanted to be part of an African American congregation.
Oh, really? Okay.
Hallelujah.
Have to keep in mind.
And then there are very staid and sedate congregations where the expression is very personal and calm.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Anybody else? Vicky, and then Marilyn.
I think sometimes it depends on my mood because I love
Yes.
the upbeat versions and they make you feel great. But the one we just heard is so spiritual, and even when Elise was done, you went, and I think we all did that. It was
It's also
just
Elise's
so-
voice. Yeah.
It was just so spiritual, and at times that's really what I crave. So it depends on where I am in the day.
Excellent.
Very good. Yeah.
So I have a question. I thought, based on Debbie Friedman's song, that Shabbat Shira is all about women, right? And I thought it was Miriam that sang this song, but in the text it's Moses, right? So how did that come together?
So just to point out, good question. Miriam, as we read the text, right, just came out at the end and with the trembles and like joined in the dance. I never heard that this is all about women, Shabbat Shira. I know that most like cantors and musicians, they always try to put a beautiful musical Shabbat that we're going to have this Friday for Shabbat Shira, like make it beautiful, celebratory. But I never heard, I don't know.
It was a long time ago, and people have been a member here longer than me. Remember
Yeah.
that Shabbat Shira was a celebration of women, and we would have women rabbis, and there would be a whole weekend devoted to women and women's ideas and women in
That's good to know. I think it's another spin, maybe another interpretation, which is beautiful. I forgot to use this.
Back in the 70s, I think it was the 70s, the concept, I'm very hoarse, the first concept of a woman's Seder came up with the singing of Debbie Friedman's song. I remember going to the very first women's Seder that was held in Rochester, and we all got up and danced around in a cafeteria around the tables. It was the most moving thing I had ever been to.
Yeah, and then
to the JCC,
it got really huge.
Mm.
A couple hundred people involved. Remember
Yeah, it's a very.
Also,
yeah.
in the late 90s, she came.
Yes,
We had it
yes.
in the J.
Yes.
Mhm.
And it was incredible.
Yeah, so she and our before the wonderful Elise, Joel Bloom was our soloist, and she and he were friends, so he was able to bring her here. And so we really did that Shabbat Shira big, and as Marilyn mentioned, a whole weekend, all of Saturday, the women came in, and it was a women's study.
Wow, this is beautiful. I mean, we can maybe restore this tradition.
Yeah.
Herb?
Yeah, Debbie Friedman is probably, she was on the faculty in Manhattan.
At UC.
The Theological Seminary that you went to. This is not, her music is not the music that's played in modern Orthodox or even conservative synagogues. So a lot of these songs are written by people in different parts of our movement, aimed at different congregations. She was revolutionary. Okay, in my conservative congregation, in the early 2000s, we didn't even know who she was. Okay, so you're looking at this through a prism of Reform Judaism, not the entire, all congregations. There's certain congregations.
Right. That's a good comment. It's a lot of interpretation. I think it was beautiful tradition in Temple Sinai, and we can restore if people would like to. But this Friday, we're going to have an intergenerational Shabbat Shira, where a lot of kids from our school will be participating along with some of our vocalists and musicians. So it's a celebration. it will be a celebration. So if I may share my opinion why some composers compose lyrical michamochas and some compose upbeat, I'm thinking if you think of the story of the Israelites and you're just following like what David's saying, the sequence, right? That if you look ahead and you know how long will be the journey, right, of the Israelites and how difficult it would be, and all the story of the golden calf and giving the Torah, just thinking about this challenging way ahead of Israelites that didn't know about it yet because they just crossed the sea. Just thinking of that make it more like writing, a lyrical one, a soft one. Maybe it's not so much joy yet, Maybe it's joy now, but how joy is gonna be if it's gonna be 40 years in a desert, right? Wandering 40 years in a desert. It's not so much joy. So just my thinking. But I like both. I like upbeat and I like your comments. So thank you for sharing. So here we come into the main question, right? I struggle with that. A lot of rabbis struggle. Was Israel escape from Egypt a miracle, right? And here's the questions that we can consider. Is it really what happened, right? And can we believe that God sent angels to lead the Israelites and split the sea for them? Did Moses play any role in the victory? Did the Israelites do anything to save themselves? Bless you. Is the Torah an exaggeration beyond belief? And was Israel escaped from Egypt a miracle? Let's unpack. So before we start discussion, I wanted to humor you a little bit. Could somebody read the story?
We are told about the 10-year-old whose father was driving her home from religious school. What did you learn about today? His father asked. The child responded, the teacher told us about Israelites' escape from Egypt. They came to the Sea of Reeds and built pontoons and drove across the water. As soon as the Egyptians and their tanks were on the pontoons, the Israelites sent in their air force and bombed them. The father looked with surprise at his child. Is that really what the teacher told you? Not really, answered the child. But if I told you what the teacher told us, you never would believe it.
So, yeah. So back to these questions. Like any thoughts, like Carly?
Okay, from playing devil's advocate. Okay, so we are, I'm not saying it's true, but like we are a lot smarter, maybe IQ wise, than they were back then. So did they understand the tides of the water that was happening then? Maybe at the time the tides were lower and we were able to pass through, and then so happened maybe then the tides maybe were influenced by God or whatever. I don't know. But like, did we think that it was a miracle? Maybe speaking that like we didn't understand that the water and the tides were lower at the time period, or did they think it was a miracle because we didn't understand what was happening, and so because we didn't understand what was happening, we just say, "Oh, it was God."
That's the Bay of Fundy theory.
Right. So very good, Carly. We'll get to that, and we'll talk about exactly where there's a map, a possibility where the Israelites were crossing, right? And I'm going to show you that map. So you hold that thought. That's good. Again, rabbis also cannot explain. There are so many commentaries on that. So everybody puzzles with this. Was it a miracle?
So last week, when the imam was here, he mentioned that the Muslim tradition is that some portion of the Israelite community left Egypt, but it wasn't the entire community that many people were left behind, essentially. So I'm not sure exactly where the tradition falls for us on that, but in that case, did the Israelites do anything to save themselves? That would kind of answer that question more, yes. If in a sense that it was the people who somehow chose to depart or got underway.
Yes, Judge. So you're speaking to the Torah actually used the word multitude, right? It was a multitude. We don't know multitude, but Jews were non-Jews, were whoever wanted to escape Egypt went. It was a multitude. Like that's the word is used in Torah. So as you're saying, there were not only Israelites. There were people who were persecuted or just wanted to escape Egypt, or just like the Jews, or converted, or just wanted to run. Joyce.
Yesterday morning service, Rabbi said that there were Jews who decided not to go, who chose to stay behind.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, it's like it reminds me of the war in Ukraine, right? What happened? A lot of Jews in Ukraine, when the war broke up in Ukraine, Israel offered all the Jews in Ukraine to get them out. You know, it's like I still have like goosebumps just thinking about it. That Israel made an offer to Ukraine that all the Jews who want to come, they can come to Ukraine. A lot of left, they came to Israel and also went to Germany and France, and Israel helped that to the transfer. But many Jews left, were staying in Ukraine and went to fight for Ukraine. So, I mean, it's hard to comprehend, but that knowing the Ukrainian history, you know, so Jews, some of them didn't want to leave.
The president stayed.
Well, he had to, he kind of had to stay. Marsh.
So much of this story, not just the Song of the Sea, but the entire story, starting with Moses and the burning bush and all of that, is built on miracles. Why question whether just this part is a miracle? There's lots of commentary on whether the plagues were actually natural phenomena, but we build them up as miracles. I think that people have a need to want to believe miracles can happen, and yet there's another part of us that doesn't want to believe the supernatural does occur, that we can explain everything through science.
Yes, thank you, Marsha. So this is like another point that I will show you the text later on, when there are miracles around us even nowadays, you know, and sometimes we're so stuck. I'm talking even about myself in our own kind of space, and that we don't pay attention to miracles around us. So this is a text I wanted to share with you. Anybody would like to read this text?
I'll read it. Do you know any word more descriptive than miracle for the fact that within the tiny sub-microscopic cell each of us was at the moment of conception were already contained the seeds of all the physical traits, all the mental characteristics, all the emotional proclivities, all the creative possibilities of the adults we are today? That is a long sentence. Compared to that, a sea splitting in two is simple child's play. There are more miracles without magic in this universe that the wisest of us could ever identify. The trouble is that most of the time we are looking for them in the wrong places.
I like the text. It's like this is like a birth of the child is a miracle, right? Just a simple. So here for you, if anybody feels comfortable, just go around and just maybe share a moment where it was a miracle for you, or some kind of awe that you were so grateful, moment that you were so grateful that kind of was a miracle. Lauren.
I was teaching at a school with the blind, and one of my kids is deaf and blind, like he does tactile sign language, and he wanted to ride a unicycle. And I'm like, he can't even see or hear, how can he ride a unicycle? And once you know, he can ride a unicycle independently. And as he was riding away, I just thought, that is a true miracle, that most people can't even ride a unicycle, let alone somebody who's deaf and blind ride a unicycle. So we actually made a video of it if you want to go on YouTube. And put in deaf, blind, and unicycle. And like, that's not something you would typically put into YouTube, but there's things like that that just like, how did that happen? And he was born with that ability, right? So that's just a miracle there too.
It's a miracle.
I think any of us who've given birth at that moment think that it's perfect child comes out. When you think about all the possibilities of what could happen between, like they said, the conception and then this perfect child coming out, I certainly felt that. And I think it's different for women who went through that, carrying a child and then birthing, and even the fathers who might think it's a miracle, but it's a different experience.
Yeah. Then
this isn't something I consider a miracle, but it's an emotional experience that I can relate to this setting. Is that I was scheduled for surgery, and I was something I was concerned about. Went in for my pre-op, and the first person I meet, goes through all the financial stuff and everything else, and then she starts asking me, well, being a physician, are you concerned about this? And I answered her somewhat, and then she said, I remember when I was in Rain, and that, for anybody who doesn't know, that was the program we had here for the homeless with host families. That on Christmas, you came and picked up me and my family and gave me a ride, and it wasn't officially their responsibility, but it was really nice of you to do. And I was so moved that, if you volunteer for something, you often don't know the outcome, and that this woman was in a real responsible position, and I was in a real vulnerable one. And she saw that, and she came over and gave me a hug. And it was, I don't think there was any divine intervention, but that was quite an experience.
Beautiful. It was a miracle for her. Anybody else want to share? Laura?
I was going to say something.
Go ahead.
Before we were sharing, I translate a lot in my head to feel comfortable with things. So I translate Jesus to love, and I translate in different spaces so that I'm able to tap into intention. And I think part of it for me is translating miracle into things we don't understand. Because I think when you think of it that way, it grounds it a little bit more. And my favorite prayer that I'm going to say incorrectly is the one where we say, pray as if everything,
depends on you.
Depends on God, and act as if everything depends on you. And so thinking about being in this space between freedom and enslavement, and relating that to today's times, I think if you use miracle in a way that doesn't translate as things we don't understand, it's problematic for me, because it's like saying just pray. Like some miracle is going to happen to save us, when I feel very anxious about the fact that we need to do things to make sure that we are not heading towards enslavement, and that we are, finding the path through the sea and all of that. So I think just maybe having a different view of what the word miracle translates.
It's beautiful. Yeah, like creating vaccine, I think was a miracle, right? COVID vaccine or other vaccine was a miracle.
It was a miracle.
We were waiting for it. Changing of the seasons, it depends on what you define miracle. So here's another song that Fred and I will demonstrate. It's written by a contemporary composer, Sheldon Law. He works as a song leader in Temple Israel in New York. It's a simple, it's like a soft tune. You can hum along. So that's another soft one. I picked soft one because we always sing joyful ones at the services. And this is another soft one by Hannah Tiferet. Elise will sing that one. And you may recognize we use sometimes in services, so come along. Thank you. Thank you, Elise.
Before you change the screen, I just have a grammatical question. What's the difference in meaning between chamoka and kamoka?
That's a good question.
Right. Many people make mistake saying micha mocha. So that's a grammar. So there is a dot in the kuf, micha mocha, you put a dot, it's called in Hebrew the gesh hazak, the gesh accent, hazak, emphasis, hazak means strong emphasis. Sometimes when you ask, like when I was at HUC, like you ask a grammar teacher, like, why is this? They say, kaha. I mean, just like that, because like that. Lama? Why? Kaha. Just because. Just because. Well, to make it, it's a good question because the grammar it's the same grammar, parallel. In my thinking, just to make the difference, you don't repeat twice the same thing. Micha mocha.
I once heard, I think when I was a kid, that the first one was because you had a clear voice because there was no water, so you could say ka. And then as the water came around you, I just remember hearing it in Hebrew.
Yeah.
So then you could almost say ka. You couldn't get the ka out.
That's beautiful. Well, there are a lot of interpretations. Yeah, thanks for sharing. Ka, micha, just to keep us, on track. So make sure we don't repeat the same things. So I just want to share. I know we are almost out of time. Just want to share this number one, my favorite, by Moses Maimonides. Miracle cannot prove what is possible. It is useful only to confirm what is possible. Yes, miracle cannot prove what is impossible. Sorry, it is useful only to confirm what is possible. Yeah. What do you think it means?
He's saying basically it's a way to explain what you think was impossible. Now he's saying, well, it's a miracle, so therefore it can happen.
Right.
Because this explains it. An event, it explains an event, so you can accept it.
It goes back to what Laura said.
Yeah.
We usually finish at 10:30.
10:30, quarter of.
Okay. Are you still here? So I'm just going to skip a few slides. So here's the very interesting where exactly the crossing, took place, right? Where the Israelites crossed. Sea of Reeds, right? In Hebrew, in the Song of the Sea, it says Yam Suf. Yam Suf. It's a Suf in Hebrew means reeds. But if you change like a vowel, it's Sof, like end of the sea. It could be end of the sea. It's no means translate Red Sea, it's Sea of Reeds. Okay, that's the right translation, Sea of Reeds. Yam Suf translated Sea of Reeds. It was through some mistranslation that we think it was Red Sea. But here's some of the possible paths, right, of the crossing. So as you can see, the yellow, right, the yellow, can you see the yellow part? That Israelites were kind of passing through the Sof, end of the sea, right? Where Carly was saying the tide it was low and high, and that helped Israelites to pass through, right? So here's another map with possible crossing, because we don't know exactly where Israelites were crossing. So this is the Red Sea. This is the Red Sea here, right? The Red Sea here. These are like a Suez Canal, and right now, so this was the water, right? Right now it's kind of dried over, but that's what some of the Torah scholars are suggesting, that the bitter lakes, this is what they call the bitter lakes, right? So the purple, this is the called purple color, right? This is the purple. The purple, that's the bitter, they think maybe it was a bitter lake crossing, purple, right? Then the blue one, some possibilities thinking that, some scholars thinking that was crossing happened here, right? Then the green happened right at the Sof, right at the end of Red Sea. This is the Red Sea here, right? Right at the end of Red Sea, where like the small opening, right? And then the orange, oh, that's yellow. That's kind of the orange is, and they call this orange actually. This is orange.
No, you've got the left is the Red Sea. Yeah, the left sea is the Red Sea.
This is the Red Sea down there.
This is Egypt. This is the Nile. This is Egypt. They crossed here, somewhere in here.
Right. So
then they went across the Sinai Peninsula. That's the Dead Sea.
So hold on. So this.
Not the Dead Sea. The Gulf of.
So the Red Sea is right here, right?
And this is the green path, is the yellow path on this one.
Right.
So the reds, if you go to the next slide. The Red Sea, that's the tip of the Red Sea up here. They crossed here, somewhere in here. This is the Nile.
Right. So I was thinking that this is Red Sea here.
Yeah, the branches, but
the branches.
but this is
right.
Egypt. This is the Nile River.
Right. So we don't know exactly where the end.
The Nile is to the left.
The Nile is here.
That's the Nile. That's the Nile is.
Yes.
The green line is to the left.
So I should Mediterranean Sea.
They crossed here on the left.
Right, so we're not sure. These are different possibilities where they were crossing. We don't know exactly where they crossed.
But then they wandered in the desert and they came back from the east to enter the land of Israel.
Right, so first they crossed, then they wandered.
And they wandered east and then they came. That's why those arrows go all the way east.
So here, one of the commentators saying that it's a common occurrence in the region of the Suez. He explains that the high tide, the water of the Red Sea penetrates the sand from under the surface, and suddenly the water begins to ooze up out of the sand, which has been dry. Within the short time, the sand turned to mud, but the water continues to rise, and ultimately a deep layer of water is formed above the sand. The whole area becomes flooded. against this natural background, the biblical account can easily be understood. Because Zutter, one of the commentaries, points out that the miracle did occur. The fact that at that very moment when it was necessary, the miracle took place and brought the Israelites out. So still, up until now, we still wonder, was it a miracle or it was natural phenomena or it was both? So I will leave you with that.
It was a miracle that it happened at that time.
Right, that's exactly what the commentator is saying. And if you share any comments?
There's no proof any of this ever happened. But the interesting thing with this is that we view things in history very different. For instance, our grandchildren have no concept of what it was like to be a hippie in the 60s because they see these old people who act a certain way. I had no concept of what my grandmother did when she was a flapper in the 20s. And none of us have a concept of the fact that these songs were written by people like Bob Dylan. You know, because we see all these stodgy old people, but they were young people when they wrote these songs and when they wrote these things. And these were oral histories that were passed down. And we know what happens with oral histories. You know, they get more embellished and more embellished. So I just enjoy this as our history. And I don't try and think that this is a miracle. It's just a wonderful thing that happened and a wonderful story that we can relate to and have fun with.
Yeah, it's a good interpretation. I think each of us individually could define within our hearts and souls how we interpret the splitting of the sea, right? And miracle or beautiful event, we interpret personal, you know. So it's a personal thing. Well, thank you, Elise. Thank you, Fred. And thank you to all of you. Sorry for all the technical, difficulties. Thank you. Well, don't forget about Shabbat Shirah this Friday.
It has to do with Shabbat Shirah.
Yes. Elise, thank you.
Do we have a rehearsal?